Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I had planned to do a post-travel update video with Theresa, but it has been a busy week getting back to work, and I have a few things I'd like to discuss with you guys, including some medical updates that I do not really want Theresa to overhear me talking about. So let me start out with that medical update, and then I'll talk about our trip to Virginia that we just took and some potential plans to finish our 50-state tour of the U.S. Lastly, I'll tell you about some upcoming plans to get Theresa a lifelike baby doll to care for. So on to that medical update first. Theresa had a seizure last month. Many of you probably saw that video. I did. In that video, I indicated that I thought her seizure was related to medication. Turns out I was incorrect about that. Theresa was still having myoclonic jerks after stopping the medication nortriptyline, and her neurologist informed me that her seizure was due to the later stages of dementia. Now, not everyone with Alzheimer's disease may end up getting seizures, but Theresa had one, and she will have to remain on the medication Keppra to prevent them from reoccurring. And that medication has worked great to stop her myoclonic jerks, and she has had no further seizures to date. Her neurologist also ordered an updated MRI, which did show atrophy in 4 different areas of her brain. Her last MRI was done nearly 5 years ago. I did ask if they could compare the MRIs to see how much atrophy had taken place since our last one, but they apparently didn't copy the CDs that I brought with me to that visit, which contained her old MRI images. So I need to bring those CDs back over to the doctor's office again so they can copy them and make that comparison. So no good news about the MRI, but I was not really expecting any after 5 years. But I am glad she was finally prescribed Keppra and she doesn't have those myoclonic jerks anymore. She can finally enjoy a cup of coffee or any drink without having to use a sippy cup or worry about spilling. So, all right, so transition over to a recent vacation. Overall, that trip we took to Virginia went pretty good. The first day was a little sad. She was a little sad, kept asking about the cats, about her baby. Most of the time, I believe she was referring to the cats when she says baby, but she could also be thinking that she has one. She has had a delusion of pregnancy from time to time, but whenever she would ask about her babies, I just reassured her that they were good and they were sleeping. Otherwise, she was pleasant, generally happy, and affectionate on the trip. It was still a lot of work to take care of her and do all that traveling. I don't want anyone thinking that it was a piece of cake. I did pack for her. I guided her all throughout each day. I found family restrooms for us to use. Tried my best to find restaurants that would serve food that she would eat as a vegetarian. She does need complete assistance with dressing, bathing, getting in and out of her vehicle, and just orienting herself in general. She will wander off if I don't keep a close eye on her. She has some severe visual spatial deficits. If I point at something and ask her to look, she can't follow where I'm pointing. And when we're going for a walk, she will sometimes drift right off the sidewalk if I do not guide her and hold on to her hand. So she also has trouble gauging distances and figuring out how to step over objects. And I have to cut up a lot of her food because she can't figure out how to do it, or has trouble how to figure out how to hold a utensil or a piece of food, such as a slice of pizza. And forgive me if I already told you this story, but she's from Brooklyn, New York, and when we first started dating, we went out for pizza, and I started cutting my pizza up, and she told me to knock it off. She showed me how to pick up a slice and fold it. She said, New Yorkers would be upset if they saw you cutting pizza like that. And by the way, it's not called pizza, it's called a slice or pie. But you know, these days I'm cutting up her pizza, and sometimes I even have to feed her myself if she's really confused or overly tired. So it is a great deal of work to look after her, and a bit more complicated when we're on the road. But I feel very fortunate that we could make that trip, and it was largely successful. And the success of that trip brought me to thinking that we might be able to finish our 50-state tour of the U.S. Many of you will recall me talking about our travels, previous videos. Theresa and I have been through 44 of the states in the U.S., and if we do attempt traveling across country again, I think I might have to get an RV or a camper just to make things easier. I wouldn't have to worry about finding a family bathroom, could cook the food that she likes. Maybe we could even bring her favorite kitty, Bean. If this trip becomes a reality, I would post the areas that we are in, and hopefully we can meet some of you guys. It was pretty cool to have our first meet and greet with Barbara, who is a subscriber and lives in Farmville, Virginia, which is where we were staying. I thought a lot about that possibility to have another big trip while on the way back home to Florida. However, the day after we got back home, Theresa asked me what my name was and how old I was. I told her my name, and I was her husband, and she disagreed with me. Even after I showed her a wedding picture, she said, "That's not now." She gave me a hug and patted me on the back and said, "You're a good man, we'll find somebody for you." Now, she's been having some confusion about who I am from time to time for a few months now. But since she was so good on that trip to Virginia and affectionate, I was surprised, by it this time. But a few hours later, she was back to realizing who I was. But it makes me wonder, am I crazy for thinking about doing a cross-country trip? Should I do it? Consistency is the best for those with dementia, and traveling, no matter how well you plan, is a disruption to familiar surroundings and routine. But what I've decided is that I'm going to have to just wait and see how things are going with her next spring. The next remaining states left to visit are Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, and Hawaii. Obviously, I can't drive to Hawaii, so I'll have to figure out maybe a flight or a cruise. But I certainly want to see all 50 states, and I'd like to do it with her if it's possible. Even if she won't remember, I will. She had a good time on this past trip, just having me all to herself. I didn't have to worry about work, so she got all my attention. The car ride was filled with singing her favorite tunes and snuggling with the Grinch. Lately, she's been talking to her stuffed animals and trying to feed them, which leads me to the next topic I want to share with you guys. As I mentioned earlier, Teresa's been talking about babies for a while now. She wants one. She's been treating the Grinch like it was her baby. I think she might take to a lifelike baby doll now. Her best friend, Cher, has picked out a doll for her and is bringing it over in the next few days. We're going to present it to Theresa and see how she reacts. If she believes it's a real baby, then I'll go along with it, and I think she would feel blessed to care for it, and it would help calm her and give her a sense of purpose. I'm going to film that interaction, and depending on how it goes, I may upload that video to YouTube. But to conclude this video today, guys, I just want to say that sometimes I look back at some of the videos and pictures we shared. We're smiling and laughing, and it may appear that everything is just wonderful. I don't want to mislead anyone out there that's on this journey. It is a tough road, you guys know that. Sometimes it's difficult to keep things status quo and upbeat. I do aim to keep her smiling as much as I can, but I'm tackling new obstacles that come up all the time and troubleshooting situations as they arise. A while back, I did a caregiver video series, parts 1 and 2. I really poured my heart out in those videos, telling the raw truth about the journey. And, I'm going to do the same in this video, and we'll continue doing so. It's great to have this channel as an outlet to air out all the twists and turns. Sometimes it takes me a while to sit down and do one of these videos and figure everything out that I want to say. But after I upload, it's a great feeling to get it out there, to know that I made a video documentary of what's going on right now. And I hope that all these videos that Theresa and I do are helping some of you. You guys are helping us for sure, and I appreciate you guys watching today. Please consider subscribing if you haven't done so. It's free, and your subscription helps spread awareness about dementia-related diseases and support for all of us caregivers. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.